How's it going, guys? Living in Bad Fate here, and I'm back playing Chantelise, episode 3. And remember, if you forgot what happened last episode, I had just finished talking to the item shop girl in town. She told me to find the fortune teller, who is out collecting reagents in the Terran ruins. So I am now going to find this fortune teller, in the hope that she'll be able to tell me how to get my sister back to normal. Wait, no, she'll tell me how to find the witch, who'll tell me how to get my sister back to normal, and not be a fairy anymore. But anyway, let's go into the ruins here and get started. Oh my god. If this is just a... Ooh, look at gem. Yeah, thunder. And I'm still kind of struggling with the cameras. I still find it kind of weird to work. And the button system, the button layout is very much set out to be played on a gamepad, which I don't have. So I have to make do with the keyboard, which is kind of awkward because normally in a gamepad you'd have the 3 buttons in a circle and you'd press them with your thumbs. When you're playing on the keyboard, you have the 4 buttons in a straight line and you're trying to press them with your fingers, and it can get kind of awkward. Oh, that was a cool spell. And I've learned to use my spells a little bit more, just because yeah, you kind of have to rely on them fair often, I might have to say. Oops. Alright. And someone asked me about this spinning ball last episode. I'm not entirely sure what it is, it's just a spell. And it was called Hammer Ball just then, so take from that what you will. But I left a lot of stuff behind, hold on. Like you, not you, and a golden pedestal, cool. Yeah, I think that's an item off Rossetti. Actually, they sort of use a lot of the same things, and the gems that are floating around in Rossetti, they were actually experience points for your warriors. But now I don't have experience points, which is kind of weird. I'm not entirely sure how I level up, and I accidentally pressed that button. Okay, now I have 3 of them. Oh, cool. That was easy. And the thing I really like about Rossetti, and it's why I played a lot of it, even though it's not my general sort of type of game, is just because it's very much different from the norm. And I suppose indie games are a lot like that, and that's one of the reasons why I really love them. Not that there's anything wrong with sort of like big produced games, produced games with a lot of money behind them. They tend to focus on cut some grass. They tend to focus on doing what's sort of already set in stone, like they sort of follow the rules of video games just because they're trying to hit the mass market and to sell to the most people. With indie games, people tend to, or the developers tend to sort of take a step back and they sort of are more creative in what they want to do. So for those of you who didn't play Rossetti, you basically ran an item shop, and yes, you could go dungeon crawling if you so choose, which it was part of the game, but the main part of it was selling items in this shop. And not many games will function with a mechanic like that where you run a shop. It was a strange game. I personally thought it was really good. That was a really kick-ass spell. And in the comments last video, I think it was last video or the video before, someone said to play Amnesia, which I have, and I played Penumbra, and in fact I am a huge fan of frictional games, so yeah. If you don't know, Penumbra was there was 3 horror games that frictional games made before they released Amnesia, which basically followed the same sort of gameplay mechanic where you're relatively weak as a person and sort of hones in on the true aspects of survival horror, which not many games will do. If you find survival horror games, it's usually like Dead Space, if you want to buy sort of a mass-produced game, or Fear, which is, I always thought was kind of weird in terms of a horror game when you're a complete badass and you can like slow time and stomp on aliens' heads. That spell didn't do anything. But it's supposed to be a survival horror game, so it's kind of weird that you're incredibly strong and you have all these insane abilities. That slime just killed itself. So did its friend. And so did that one. Okay, this bridge is apparently really hard for slimes to operate. But yeah, I really liked the Penumbra and Amnesia series just because it departed from that. It it immersed you just by making you really weak, and sort of let that run the whole survival part of the game. As opposed to just making enemies really strong, you can make just enemies that you would more likely to encounter, seem like more realistic enemies, but have you just more realistic yourself. So I thought it was like, horror was really well done in that series, and it's personally one of my favorite series, and one of my favorite game developers. What was the other one I really like? Another indie game developer. I'm sure I'll think of it in a second, but Frictional Games is number 1 or 2 on my list of my personal favorite game developers. Damn, can't think of my first. Damn, why can't I? Valve is up there too. I really like Valve. So they're a major producer of game, but they do support indie games, which is always good. But anyway, if you notice, when I run, you can see a really, you can see like up this girl's skirt. It's kind of weird. I don't know what the Japanese were thinking when they made that. It's kind of like a pedophile playing this game. Oh god, I keep mishitting my spells. Alright. Yeah, it's kind of creepy, and it's probably ruined the innocence of this game for you, and I apologize if I've just done that. But anyway. Another thing I find really irritating about this game is just everything explodes outwards, and you have to like run around and struggle with the camera to pick everything up. I find that strange. And I can't pick that one up. And I'm full of spells, I think. But there's some bread over here I want to pick up, so I'm going to get that. Walnut bread, in fact. Another item that's that was on Raketia, I should say. And I'm about to head into this cave. I've done some pretty kick-ass action this episode. Not kick. It's no Battlefield Bad Company 2, but it's pretty good. Anyway, so I'll pick up the cave adventure in my next video. Hope you've enjoyed watching this one. I'm living in bad faith, and I'll see you next time.